may be like half awake, I may be tired, but I still have hatred down deep into my heart, my soul even, for the way that Ubisoft is just gone for some reason. I really don't understand how we can keep fucking this up. It seems near impossible at this point. But a little article caught my attention, and I decided, you know what, this is the final straw. I'm going to talk about Ubisoft's BS. Making solid games isn't enough when you have gamers expecting extraordinary experiences, Ubisoft CEO says after Star Wars Outlaws. Are you serious? Are we looking at the same game? Are we? You cannot convince me that we're asking too much when we're looking at garbage like this. And all we're doing is asking for the bare minimum. We want the game to be good. We don't want it to be slop. We want it to be good. And you can go for large scale all you want. There's nothing wrong with aiming for large scale, but large scale becomes more complicated. And if your teams and your management, and I'm harping on management here, can't handle large scale, you should be shrinking that down by a significant margin because you guys can't handle it. It's not a compliment when people say, oh, that's a Ubisoft-esque game. No, because all Ubisoft games at this point, including, and I'm going to call out specifically Avatar here, it's a perfect example of it should have been something so different, so unique from the rest of the Ubisoft games. You go ahead and play it and you're like, this is just Far Cry, but I'm big. You're the company that makes open world games that are cookie cutter. It's pretty much every Ubisoft product. In my opinion, Assassin's Creed Unity was probably like where they definitely started to taper off in quality. After that, it was just a straight nosedive. Like, I couldn't get into any Assassin's Creed games after that. It was all a shit show. But in this article, given to us by Games Radar, written by Austin Wood, Ubisoft CEO Mr. Gilma, that's gonna be your name. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I really don't care. Has acknowledged that simply making solid games just doesn't cut it in today's competitive market, and I'm putting competitive in quotation marks. Following, of course, the delay of Assassin's Creed Shadows, which has made Ubisoft's 2024, presentation not super great. It's not looking great. This is coming after the Star Wars Outlaws mediocre score of 76, and Guillemot emphasized that games need to go beyond solid quality to succeed, and they expect so much of us, particularly large AAA projects like Assassin's Creed. Well, maybe you should be taking a little bit more time to put into the game. Maybe you should scale them down a little bit. Focus on quality over quantity, how big the thing can be. You need to get that down because no one's buying this shit. If you have so little faith as to go ahead and make the DLC free, that shows me, the consumer, that you have no faith in your market, in your consumer base, and it shows that you have no faith in the performance of the DLC, let alone the game, which is absurd to me because you're still charging the full $70 price tag when obviously what I'm reading is we probably shouldn't charge $70, but we're gonna still find something to complain about. Absurd to me coming from the company who back in January decided that they were gonna say people who play video games should just get used to not owning their video games, which I find absolutely hilarious, considering you guys are coming back to fucking Steam now and backtracking on just about every other claim that you made back in 2019, not excluding, when you said that PC was your most profitable platform, but more specifically on the part where you started to throw a little bit of hatred Steam's way and copped a contract with Epic Games. No one uses that shit for anything other than fucking Fortnite, by the way. Anyone who actually uses Epic Games might be fucking lobotomized. You had all those claims about, Steam's not realistic. Steam is just not ready for the future market. They just can't adapt. They're unrealistic in their standards. Can't think of a single person who enjoys the Ubisoft launcher. Can you imagine? The only thing I've used the Ubisoft launcher for was for two things and two things only. Trying to play Far Cry 5 and having a bitch of a time getting connection up. And that was a long time ago, by the way. And then after they wouldn't launch X-Defiant over on Steam, I had to download the Ubisoft launcher again. And that was a total pain in my ass because half the time it just wouldn't open. And I had to do my full password reset every time I launched the game. It was just a mess. It is awful to navigate. It is awful to have more than one account on your system. Just sell me the game. Just bring me the game. I should not have to go to you to get it because this is not the market anymore. You are not GameStop in 2008. You are Radio Shack, and it is 2025. Do you understand this analogy, Ubisoft? Users do not want to jump through hoops to access your franchises, especially when they become so lackluster, cookie cutter, that they gain that stereotype of being a Ubisoft-esque game. Literally anything you could pick up from Ubisoft, you could recognize without telling the person who's playing the fucking game that it's a Ubisoft game, or it's a Ubisoft-like, and it just gives you that vibe of million-dollar company who does the bare fucking minimum. Just when you thought Ubisoft couldn't get any more evil, at one point they require internet for the physical discs on consoles to download the game, which I still think it's absurd that physical discs has become nothing but a token to download the game onto your platform anyway, and I've had to explain this to a lot of people who still don't understand this to this day. The majority of the discs you're gonna get, pretty much all of them at this point, aren't going to be the actual game on them. You're still going to have internet to download and fucking play the game. If that doesn't prove to you that they were out to, remove physical media from you, I don't know what would be. So let's recap really quick before we, before I get accused of going in a circle. So Ubisoft is trying to erase physical media. They're trying to tell you that you should be comfortable with not owning your games. They're trying to force launchers onto you. They're realizing they're failing in the majority of their other markets. PC used to be the most profitable. Then they decided to bend over PC and fuck it in the ass. And only just now, about 4 or 5 years later, are they starting to piece this together. That was an awful idea because they took a gamble that was obviously dumb as fuck. Anyone with a fucking singular functioning brain cell would have been able to tell you that. They sit on massive franchises that have massive history, and I really don't understand how they keep fucking this up. It seems that the board themselves do not understand how this is happening. So much so, and so poorly understanding their own communities and their own company, that they've launched their own internal investigation. How the fuck do you manage to fucking miss the problem? Awake and refreshed Stark here. I just want to quickly remind you, we're almost at 500 subs. We're at 493. If we can get 7 more and hit 500, it'd be a huge milestone for me. Not just for me personally, but for the channel as well. It gets into the algorithm more. And if you could also let me know what I could do in the comments below. That feedback is greatly appreciated, not just for the channel, but the interaction gets the video recommended to way more people. Thank you. What happened? Where did we go wrong? Our plan was so flawless. We start paying the ground floor devs less, cutting budgets by removing some of them, and to make it the workload easier for them, we just start building templates to build the games off of. It was a flawless process. There's no way it could have become stale, and it's universal. You can apply it to any game. Some other dude's like, yeah, I just don't couldn't understand it. Maybe we're doing something wrong. And then they're like, nah, come on, dude. You know how much money we make? There's no way. We run companies, dude. We make investments. We're smart people. Basically, I don't know how else to sum it up other than they're paying someone to waste their fucking time, and they're probably not going to be like, hey guys, you are kind of the you're kind of the issue here. Some of the decisions you made, they're going to try and shift the blame on someone else because they're being paid by those guys to do the investigation. Naturally, they're financially incentivized not to, talk bad about them. And if they do, and they don't like the answer, they could just replace them. So there's that fear. It's just not good. No matter how you cut it, it's not going to fucking pan out. Or some dude's just going to be like, fuck it. All of that's probably going to happen. Let me do fuck all and place the blame on someone else. And maybe you're like, hey, this is the ground devs. We gotta wipe them out again. We gotta replace them and then pay them less. And the same shit's just gonna repeat. At the end of the day, someone's gonna fucking paycheck and it doesn't matter. In conclusion, this company's awful and all of these people have their heads up their own asses, and there's no way this could ever be fixed unless they just learn how to use Google, I guess. That's pretty much all I got for you. Thank you for watching all the way through. If you have, subscribe to stick around. We're almost at 500 subs. Like if you like it, dislike it. Let me know what I can do to improve on the videos in the comments below. And let me know what you think of the whole Ubisoft situation. Maybe there's a different idea that you have in mind that could, solve all of their issues. I'd love to hear the discussion. Love to see it. Thank you for sticking around. See ya.